Hi everyone, my name is Caroline. My presentation will be focused on LGBTQIA+ youth suicide in California. Across the United States, media platforms have advertised the increasing acceptance of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer questioning, intersex, and asexual allied community promote inclusion and reduce discrimination. There has been an increase in LGBTQIA+ representation of television characters in youth television channels such as Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and PBS to promote equality and acceptance to youth sexuality. However, with the increasing amount of support among the LGBTQ community, many individuals in the community still feel uncomfortable. According to Miller, references data collected in 2018 by GLAAD report an increase of 9% of individuals who felt uncomfortable that children were taught a lesson on LGBTQ history. With an increased percentage of the community feeling uncomfortable towards gender-inclusive teaching about LGBTQIA+ youth history, this can result in high levels of stress and anxiety among youth, which later can lead to suicidal behavior. Data collected from the National Survey on LGBTQ Youth Mental Health 2021 reports that approximately 42% of LGBTQ youth have considered attempting suicide, and 21% of transgender and non-binary individuals have attempted suicide. In the United States, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death and second leading cause of death among ages 15 to 34 years old. It was reported from the CDC. Wiscar's leading causes of death report that approximately 47,500 individuals committed suicide in the U.S. and 21,675 in the state of California. Not only is suicide a public health crisis among heterosexual individuals, but LGBTQ youth population are 4 times likely to commit suicide. The state of California data collected in 2017 through 2019 reports that 43.7% of gay, lesbian, and bisexual students in grades 9 through 11th grade have considered attempting suicide compared to the 12.5% heterosexual straight peers. Kids data also illustrates that 7.7% of American Indian, Alaska Native, 7.6% multiracial, and 7.2% African American Black are the highest among all races and ethnicities who are either gay, lesbian, and bisexual in California. By analyzing risk factors among LGBTQIA+ youth, this allows a better understanding on suicidal behavior. Suicidal behavior is associated with suicidal ideation, negative communication, and suicide attempt. Some severe risk factors LGBTQIA+ youth experience is having a history of mental health illness, lack of support, cultural or religious beliefs on LGBTQ identification, victimization in school settings, forced to go to conversion therapy, and living in a toxic household. Some examples include social environment, social cultural level, and interpersonal level. In the social environmental aspect, LGBTQIA+ youth encounter social stress, which includes prejudice, discrimination, and homophobic and transphobic slurs that comes from peers, staff, and parents from other students. The social stress can be experienced ranging from negative comments to public protests in schools, after-school programs, and public settings. For example, in 2019, in the northeast Sacramento area of Rockland, California, parents held a sex ed rally to protest the LGBT K-12 curriculum that was being enforced. Approximately 650 children were taken out from their parents that day, and many individuals protest that children should not be taught about gender identity. These negative experiences influence LGBTQIA+ youth to internalize their emotions, which leads to an increase in substance use, psychological distress, suicide ideation, and suicide attempt. In the social cultural level, lack of social and family support leaves LGBTQIA+ youth to be vulnerable and at greater risk to commit suicide. This experience leads to many youths to suppress their sexual identity due to the fear of rejection, homelessness, and disownment. Youth believe that their parents, siblings, and friends will not accept who they are. For example, in the Hispanic Latino community, machismo culture is a huge stressor among the LGBTQIA+ youth. Machismo culture is expressing masculinity pride and classify women as inferior. At times, men in the Hispanic Latino community brag about sleeping with multiple women, their strength and dominance. There have been multiple discussions throughout the Hispanic Latino community that don't accept the LGBTQ community. If firstborn sons of a Mexican household declares coming out towards his parents, fathers usually result in violence. Lastly, in an interpersonal level, many parents have children who experiment and try on opposite sex clothes, adopt different voice, and change the way they act. At times, parents can be supportive or opposed in the situation. In this case, if the parent opposes his child's gender dysphoria, many times parents provide false information regarding the LGBTQ community. If the child is exposed to anti-LGBTQ plus material, the child will adopt a negative attitude and belief system towards the community. This causes the child to develop confusion towards his sexual identity, develop a psychological distress, which results in high risk of suicide. LGBTQIA plus youth suicide has an extensive number of resources in the country, state, and national level. For example, in LA County, the Los Angeles LGBT Center provides multiple programs, services, and support for the community. The Los Angeles LGBT Center provides 3 in-school programs that work on creating a safe and supportive learning environment. These programs are called Out for Safe Schools, Community Action Network, and the CAN Coalition. For example, Out for Safe School program partners up with multiple school districts in LA County to make schools a safe learning environment for LGBTQ youth. Faculty personnel wear Out for Safe School badges to publicly identify as LGBTQ allies. Another resource tool that serves as a secondary prevention strategy is D.D. Hirsch Mental Health Services. D.D. Hirsch services LA County and Orange County. Provides many mental health services such as peer support, therapy services, suicide prevention, and substance use prevention. D.D. Hirsch provides a safe and non-judgmental place for individuals who have survived suicide attempts. The suicide prevention program addresses the impact and effects of suicide while providing group counseling in the LGBTQ community. In the national level, the Travel Project serves as the largest suicide prevention for LGBTQ youth. This national organization provides multiple resources such as 24/7 crisis service, where an individual can reach out to a counselor at any time. Other services provide advocacy, research, training for educators to help prevent suicide among LGBTQ youth. The Trevor Project provides 2 trainings which are called Ally Training and Care Training. Both trainings consist of educating healthcare professionals K through 12, school staff, and educators on understanding LGBTQ identity. In the Ally Training, individuals will learn various LGBTQ terminology that explain challenges that LGBTQ youth are currently facing, how to be an empathic person as well. Next, in the Care Training, it is an interactive training. In this training, this is presented by adults that are working in the foster care system with runaway and homeless youth. School staff and healthcare professionals will learn the risk factors and warning signs of suicide, how to respond to youth who is presenting suicidal behavior, and how to provide a supportive environment to reduce the risk of suicide. In the state level, California provides multiple resources that provide education on LGBTQ in English and Spanish, suicide prevention resource guides such as risk factors, warning signs, parent resource guides on LGBTQ youth, and many more. For example, California provides a web resource on youth suicide prevention for California schools where the public has easy access on locating mental health resources, public webinars, online suicide prevention training, and publications that expand the knowledge on youth suicide. While exploring all LGBTQ resources and intervention strategies in California, there is very limited diversified resources for people of color among a family-level approach. Research has proven that family support promotes well-being and adolescent health. LGBTQ youth often receive little to no support when coming out. Research has indicated that approximately 36% of California LGBTQ youth have reported being stressed in coming out to their parents. 45% of parents have said negative comments about LGBTQ people, and 29% of LGBTQ youth have been taunted by family members. In review of all resources, there was only one Spanish YouTube video called Tres Gotas de Agua, addressed for the Hispanic Latino community. This video illustrates 3 undocumented mothers' process of acceptance towards their children's LGBTQ identity. This YouTube video serves as an educational resource for parents that allows a better understanding on how to provide unconditional love and support for their LGBTQ children. I believe that there's a need for cross-cultural education on LGBTQ. These sessions should provide cultural competent education for people of color. For example, parents in the Hispanic Latino community who participate in this program will explore cultural beliefs that can be damaging towards their child's mental health. Additional peer parent support services should be included for parents of children who have come out. Parents and their children will be supported by other parents who have experience in accepting their child's new LGBTQ identity, as shown in Tres Gotas de Agua. In San Francisco State University, a research project called the Family Acceptance Project focuses on preventing health and mental health risks among LGBTQ children and youth. Additionally, this project provides cultural grounded approach to help ethnically, racially, and religiously diverse families to learn and support their LGBTQ children. This will create a positive impact in family dynamic, which will result in a reduction of suicide ideation and suicide attempts. Thank you.